Coming up next on Access Framingham TV, visit the museums of Porsche, BMW, Audi, and other German automobile manufacturers with my guest, Nicole Connolly. Stay tuned. Hello, I'm Jack Barron, host of Travels with Jack on Access Framingham TV, where guests share with our audience a recent trip, a vacation, a cruise, or even a business trip. You'll see their photos and hear about the exciting places they have visited. On this month's show, Nicole Connolly returns to share with us a unique trip she took a few years ago. Nicole has had a great passion for automobiles since she was a little girl growing up in Germany. In 2010, she was privileged to visit and photograph the museums of every automobile manufacturer in Germany. What parts of the world have you visited? Please be my guest on Travels with Jack. Share your travel experience with our viewing audience. Just contact us here at Access Framingham Television and let us know you'd like to be a guest. You can phone AFTV at 508-875-5434, or you can send an email message to info@accessfram.tv. Our associate producer will contact you to make arrangements for you to be on our show here on Access Framingham TV. If you don't live in Massachusetts, we would be pleased to assist with your travel to the Access Framingham studios. And now, let me welcome back Nicole to Travels with Jack. Welcome back, Nicole.
Yes. I'm so excited to be back and tell some more stories.
Thank you. Let me give the audience a little information on Nicole. Nicole currently lives in Westborough, Massachusetts, with her husband Carl, who grew up in Dublin, Ireland. And Nicole grew up in Stuttgart, which is where we're going to see some of these pictures today.
Yes.
The home of Mercedes-Benz and Porsche. Mm-hmm. Nicole graduated Boston University with a certification in photography. She is a professional photographer, and in fact, this show airs a little later, but we were at an event together last night, and she took an extra special lens to slim me down for the photos. So I want to thank her for that. She's very busy with major clients like EMC Corporation, doing a lot of web-linked photography. Since her childhood in Germany, Nicole has had a passion for automobiles and went with a friend, a business friend I'd call her, to do a story on these automobiles, photography-wise and written, that they prepared as freelance writers and photographers for a general publication.
That's correct.
And we are lucky enough to have some of these photos, and she's going to share that with us today. Nicole also continues to teach German cooking at Assabet After Dark and an iPad class at Keefe Tech. She also runs a large group of German people. What do you call your group?
It's a meetup group, German meetup group.
German meetup group.
And anybody that wants to practice their German can come to that group. And
they have German lessons, and the hell with the German lessons. She makes a great strudel, and that's why I go to those things.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Can you already smell the strudel?
Welcome back.
It's great to be back.
So tell the audience a little bit. You left from Boston for this trip to Germany. How did it go about?
Exactly. So, it's the trip took us to like all the 5 car makers. So it was we started in Stuttgart. Actually, we started in with BMW.
Okay.
Went up to Audi, and then went to Mercedes, Porsche, and also up to Volkswagen, which are in the northern part of Germany.
And owns a bunch of these other companies.
Yes, so they,
we were discussing earlier.
exactly. So.
And you left from Boston Lufthansa, or how did you get there?
Did I fly? Yeah, I think I flew Lufthansa, yeah.
Okay, into where, Frankfurt?
Normally Frankfurt, yeah, and then I take the train down to Stuttgart, because I land very early in Frankfurt, and I would have to sit around for a while in Frankfurt airport to catch the next plane, so I prefer to take the train, which is just an hour, and yeah.
Oh, so really you can get to Stuttgart in 1 hour from Frankfurt by train?
That's right, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay, that's a good way to do it.
It's called the ICE train, so ICE.
Okay.
Yeah, which is like the TGV in France. So
okay, so it's a nice fast train.
Yes, it is nice, very comfortable too.
Okay, so you get to Stuttgart. I know your family still lives there, am I correct?
That's correct.
Did you stay with your folks?
I did, yeah, so that was my home base, but we rented a car then and went on our road trip. So,
oh, okay, so hopefully we'll get some maps soon and we can show the audience. Oh, there it is. Thank you.
Yeah, so those are the 5 points on the map. So with Stuttgart being in the south to the left, south left, Munich is a little bit further south of that, the further southern right point. Right above that is Ingolstadt, and then Dresden on the right, and then up top is Wolfsburg, which has the Volkswagen plants. Altogether, you can do this trip quite well in a week, and you can catch actually quite a few attractions along the way as well, in Stuttgart, in Munich, and I think with that we start with the museum in Munich. So
the BMW museum is right in Munich.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember, I had been there. It's a very nice modern building.
Yes.
And you go up like a ramp, I think I remember.
Yeah, so it's a very interesting kind of building in itself. And most of these museums are actually pretty new. So with that first picture that we're seeing, it's the first time the BMW logo is actually being put on any of their
motorcycles?
On the motorcycles. They are one of the main manufacturers that create motorcycles and automobiles. Actually, one of the few major manufacturers. But this was the first time they had the logo on there.
Really?
And the logo has a little bit of a history as well, because you saw like the blue and white. So they BMW actually started with. Yeah, so there it is. BMW actually started with airplanes, making engines for airplanes.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, so they built a lot of airplanes during the World War I.
Okay.
But then with the Versailles Pact, they were actually not allowed for the next 5 years to create any more airplanes.
Really?
So what did they have to do? You know,
they said, "Let's make cars."
Yeah, exactly. So
you know, the Versailles Pact. You know, when I think about it, was really a terrible piece of foreign policy.
It was. It really left very little.
I think France thought that they were going to benefit as they tried to consume all of Germany's assets and money, and created, I won't get into a whole history of it, but created so many problems for Germany and diminishing the value of their money and everything else.
Yeah.
But you see, as you grow up today, 2014, the French automobile business isn't too good.
Yeah.
So the result of all that work the French did to destroy the German industry today, look who's controlling the European automobile market.
Yeah.
All right. Now we'll get back to the museum.
Yeah, so these little silver balls is they actually make the shape of all the different models they have at BMW.
Oh, really?
So I thought it was a very, very interesting kind of exhibit piece. There's about 120 exhibit pieces in the museum, in the BMW museum. So, and it's very modern.
Yes. Look at the roadsters there they've got on the floor.
Yeah. So the BMW Museum was probably one of the first ones that there was. The reason why this was such an interesting thing is because to do the story on these automobile museums, well, first of all, because it was 125 years of history, automobile history. But even if you don't necessarily are a big car lover, these museums are just like pieces of art. So just to see them and how they exhibit, it's just remarkable. So yeah, obviously BMW is also in the race car. They have a few race cars as well. And then I love this picture because it shows everybody in their traditional Oktoberfest pants, the lederhosen, and the dirndl, the dresses. So this was actually taken.
The only thing they're missing is those wonderful German bears.
Yeah. So they are, they had a special tour there, everybody in the lederhosen. And you know that this has just started to come up again with everybody wearing the traditional clothes around the Oktoberfest time. Really? It was a period of time.
So the young generation says we're going to be traditional.
Yeah, it's a big thing now. So. And these are, I believe, those were some of the concept cars. So they were, you know, some of the James Bond movies and action movies. They a lot of times take in German cars. This one looks like it was pretty old,
though. I mean, this first one, the main one we're seeing there, looks like it was.
Yeah, sometimes they take like older models and make them. Exactly. So this is also they have like different parts in the museum. So there is the race car history, then there's the some of the action cars, some of the older cars. There's some artsy cars as well. Yeah, this is one of the first cars they brought out. Fairly one of the first ones. Yeah, so this is what I mean by artsy. So they have a whole part where there's like this really cool setup with you know, the lighting and everything. It's just remarkable. So it was a lot of fun to take pictures, and you are allowed to take your camera in there. Is this
the first Mini?
No, that's actually an Isetta, and the interesting part about that car is it opens like a fridge. So the door is in the front, and you open it up in the front. The steering unfolds aside, and it just has room for 2 people. Actually, I think it had like 12 horsepower.
And do you happen to remember what year that is, that model?
That was, let's see, it was probably, yes. Good question, because it was right after World War II.
So it's that old?
Yes, so they didn't have a lot of time to, first of all, everything was kaput after World War II, and they were trying to establish themselves again. So I think this model was one that existed around, let's see, it was 54.
In the early 50s?
1954 was built, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and with that, we go on over to, which is very close by as well, to the museum right next to it is the BMW Welt. And what that is, it's actually the place where you can pick up your car.
If you order, so for example, you're in the States, and they have a program, you can order the automobile for delivery in Germany.
That's right.
Drive it around.
Yes, very good idea.
And then you bring it back, I think, as a used car.
Correct.
Yes.
Exactly, and you save a ton of money.
Save some money?
Yeah, I had a friend who did this, and he saved $10,000, he said.
Really?
Yeah, so as a used car. So it's a huge thing right now, and they're very, very helpful as far as, like, if you do want to travel around, they get you the insurance.
Just for the record, everybody, Nicole does not work for the automobile dealerships or auto companies. Okay.
It's just a total personal interest, really. So.
Oh wow! What a great photo.
So this is the ramp where you actually get to pick up your car and then you drive out there. Yeah, it's amazing, like just from the architectural point as well. So this is actually the foundation stone, and that shows you when the BMW Welt was actually built in 2004. And the reason why I like this picture as well is because it also has it has a time capsule in it.
Oh.
So they put a whole bunch of newspapers and everything in from 2004 into the time capsule, and they kept it as an exhibit piece.
Wow, that's a good idea.
Yeah. I love that. So yeah, that shows a little bit of the building up top as well, and the BMW logo. So yeah, the logo itself, it's they wanted to incorporate the colors from Bavaria. It's the same colors. What they ran into, the problem with the logo is the Bavarian colors are white and blue, and you were actually not allowed to use those colors in that shape or form in the logo, so they reversed it to blue and white, and then they were allowed to use it.
Really?
But they also say, like, because they, yeah, isn't that an interesting thing? But they also say it looks like the propeller.
Yes.
You know, like the blue sky with the propeller, so that's kind of where that logo came from. You see a little bit up top from the glasses from the building itself, and they actually had to use a template for every single glass piece that's there, because it's so custom made. So it's a beautiful shape of the building, and yeah, this is where you can kind of put your car together.
And I think this company, if I'm not mistaken, BMW, still the founding family is very much involved, and I think still owns a lot of it.
Yeah, that's a good question. I actually don't know that for sure.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think
I don't know that for sure. But yeah, while obviously talking about the car museums, a nice time to go to visit Munich as well as around the Oktoberfest time, which starts in September. It doesn't start in October. It starts in early September and goes into October, and always
maybe even till December.
Yes. Yeah, we always need an excuse to celebrate in Germany. So. And here's an example of, you know, this is actually my ride, and Nina Peacock, who went with me on this trip with my partner in crime. And you saw her with the big stein. That was Paulaner beer. This is actually in one of the tents, one of the very popular tents where all the celebrities go to, even the U.S.
Explain that to me. Tell me, they set up what, tents at some of the...
Yeah, they start in June. This particular tent is the celebrity tent, and it's very hard to get into them. And this is taken under the staircase, so you can see they're actually sitting a little bit crooked.
So is the tent a building, or is it an actual tent, a canvas tent?
It's actually an actual building, yes.
Oh, okay, so it's a building.
Yep.
And they use that for serving food and beverages.
Yep. And this one has the better, so this is...
Oh, it's big!
This is another tent, actually, but just to show you how many people attend.
Oh my God!
So it's very, very hard to get into them.
So these are thousands of people.
Thousands of people, hundreds of people, yes. Traditional food that they serve, and again, the blue whites is the colors for Bavaria, but the traditional foods they serve are like Weißwurst is a very typical German food. They chicken, a whole roasted chicken, and companies in Germany actually give vouchers to their employees, and they book a table for them to go to these events.
So explain to me. So this is set up out on like a fairground or something? Okay.
Yeah.
So they
start in June to actually start setting
ride. I've never been to Oktoberfest.
They have rides.
Oh, they do. Okay.
So it's very kids friendly. You can go to that.
They have
even
rides,
if you think like it's all about beer drinking,
the dining,
it's not.
They have the beer.
Yep.
What else? Do they have
food? Excellent food.
Do they have things to sell? Are there lots of...
They have little vendors too.
Little vendors,
yeah. So I bought actually my last lederhosen in one of the events. Okay. So I do have the traditional dress, but it's also seems to be a kind of a tradition that girls wear in the lederhosen now. So I got myself a pair of lederhosen at one of these
would
events.
This be comparable to what we call like a country fair here in the United States?
Yes.
Okay.
But massive.
Yeah, I had no idea.
And yeah, when I was there, it was people from like everywhere came to this.
So
from Italy, from Russia,
from everywhere.
From Japan, from India. So it was quite interesting to see, you know, people that came over from India working with companies.
So this is a big tourism draw.
It is. It's huge.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
So,
all right, the Audi Mobile Museum.
So let's go to Audi, which is a little bit north of Munich.
In Ingolstadt.
Ingolstadt, yes.
Okay.
Exactly. And Audi didn't start in Ingolstadt. They actually were in the eastern part of Germany in Chemnitz.
Okay.
Also, another story with the war after, you know, Germany was occupied with the Soviets.
The Soviets for our young viewers. That was what Russia and
that's right.
I'm really going to confuse them, but Ukraine was part of Soviet as well. Right. Even though, as we speak today, they're in a war.
Yeah. So they had, after the war, they had to come down to Ingolstadt if they wanted to continue to build the cars. So that's why they moved down there, but they didn't have the beginnings there. But it's about an hour and 15 minutes drive from Munich now. And Audi actually started with the bicycle. So that's why I have and it's a 3-story.
Wow.
So it's the
Again,
Audi
a very nice
Mobile.
modern facility.
So the 2 permanent exhibits are on the top floor. So this is the top floor, which is the pre-war era, and then in the middle is the post-war era. And then at the bottom is a changing exhibit where all the more modern cars are. So this is the bottom floor. And I love this one as well because they show the different colors of the car. So yeah, they have the Audi TT, which is yeah, one of my favorite cars. This is not mine, this is my husband. So
I hope
you get a little souvenirs.
Kiva, maybe you can, oh, there we go, good.
Yeah.
Focus right in on that. Thank you.
Yeah, I definitely love the Audi TT, which is like the sports car. So I'm into the sports car.
You took your husband's toys tonight. He'll
Yeah,
be,
I know, he'll be missing them.
This looks almost like a Thunderbird. I don't know if, well, you...
Yeah. So it's interesting. So yeah, the building there you can see it very well. It's a 3-story building. But the nice thing as well is these museums, they don't just exhibit the cars. They actually people propose to their
these are
future brides,
really,
because they have very expensive restaurants in them too. So we went actually to one of the restaurants there.
Oh, so the dining you found very nice.
Yeah. Dining is excellent. I had, I think I had linguine with like mussels, which is, you know, for southern part of Germany, that's a rarity to have those. And we had oysters, we had steak tartare.
Oh, so they do a very nice
spread.
You sure they didn't build it for the executives?
Yeah.
Sounds to me like the executive said, here's a good excuse for us to put in fancy dining.
So that shows the outside of the building, and then just a little bit to the left there, where it's the warmer colors, that's actually where the restaurant was. It's the
handsome.
Aces.
Both of these museums are handsome, beautiful buildings.
I fell totally in love with the museums.
We're moving on now.
Okay.
They're moving me
so
right
we're going
along.
back to the south.
Back to Stuttgart.
Yeah. So I think if you do the trip, it's so this is, it shows you where Stuttgart is, which is closer to the French border. But if you would start this trip, I think if you fly into Stuttgart,
that's why you speak French.
Well, yeah, I had it in school actually. Yeah.
How far is Stuttgart from the French border?
I think you're an hour. You're over there.
Oh, an hour?
Yeah,
That's
a little bit of an hour. Yeah, and you're right over
I didn't realize.
Strasbourg.
Oh wow, what a good
so
looking
this is
building.
the outside of the building.
Yep.
And this is the interesting thing about this building actually is that it's in the Guinness Book of Records.
For what reason?
Okay, it has the biggest man-made tornado. It creates a man-made tornado inside the building.
Really?
Because they, you know, didn't want to obscure the beauty of this building with fire exit doors.
Okay.
So what they did, and we will see this in a little bit. It's actually inside. It's all open.
Okay.
And I'm gonna explain it a little bit more. But Mercedes started with the horse. So that's as soon as you get off the elevator, which is on the right-hand side there, you see the horse, and they actually, you see people already having the audios on when.
So they have an audio tour.
Yes.
Oh.
All of them have audio tours in English, French,
Really?
Italian,
Okay.
and other languages too. Chinese, I'm sure they advance as well. So this is the first automobile that they. Yeah,
wow.
One of the first ones. And believe it or not, so it was built by, obviously, we think this is a man's world, right? Engineers and everything, but it was a woman who drove this for an entire day. So Bertha Benz was the one who drove this car, test drove this car.
Oh, okay.
Being the first female driver as well. So Mercedes has that's the reason.
Mercedes was the daughter's name, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, it was one of the
Children.
Makers. Yeah, it was I forgot the name of the person, but yeah, it was one of the daughters. Yeah, so yeah, it just beautifully shows the exhibits of the older cars.
Wonderful.
So it just has a really nice flow through the museum. And what's remarkable about this one as well is that you have, as you walk out around the exhibits as well, all these little plates that you see there, those posters, they show the history in the world at that time. So you can follow along the world history, but then you also follow along the car's history as you walk around.
So you mean they have major, like, newspaper titles and such?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So a newspaper, well, anything, any facts that happened during that time as you're walking around these ramps, and then in the middle you see the exhibits. And I thought this one was really cool as well, with the glass balls on top of this car. But yeah, and you know, everything is shiny and
no,
just
it looks
beautiful.
quite handsome.
And Mercedes actually, they really. They're quite present in Germany. The cabs are Mercedes, the buses are Mercedes, the police cars are Mercedes, so they have, even the dump trucks are Mercedes. So, yeah, so this is the Gullwing. Or the SL. So you'd see the newer model of the SAS.
Very good looking.
So it's still a very, very popular car. So they brought it around again. So to
now, did they happen to mention to you? Did the company keep all of these cars for many years, or did they decide to build a museum and went out and bought these at auctions and different things?
No, I think they keep them.
They did. So they had a big collection to begin with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even when I was little, I went to the Mercedes Museum before this.
They had a museum before. Okay.
Yeah. So they had it before, and I just it was the first museum that as a little girl, I must have been 7 years old, but I just loved it.
Because those Gullwings, I have to tell you, if you had like a 1950-something Gull, they're worth millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And in fact, I read recently, I think a Ferrari, maybe in 1962 or something, don't send me letters, Ferrari went to auction for 32 million US dollars. So you can imagine some of these cars that they've got in these museums have a lot of value.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, they function. So most of the cars in these museums, they do function, yeah. Function cars. So the race cars. So they have a whole area with the race cars, and it's kind of like built on a ramp as well. So it's kind of cool, and plenty of time where you can sit down and just you know, look at.
So there's the real fancy race cars.
Yes. So they also have changing exhibits here. So this is really shown where the center of the building is. Yeah. So this is where the reason why it's in the Guinness Book of Records is because they created a suction to. So if there's ever a fire in the building, they have like a suction that sucks all the smoke out through the middle of the building, and it does create that, that funnel. It wouldn't harm those people that are standing there. You can stand around, it wouldn't suck you out. It's just for the smoke to go out. But it's the biggest man-made little tornado.
And I have to assume, because I see all these buildings are so fantastic looking, they used what? Very world-renowned architects to build them.
Yeah. I believe the Mercedes one was an Austrian, a Viennese architecture office.
But I can see these are, so there's a little competition between the manufacturers, not just for the cars, but even for their museums.
Yeah, because very quickly they all said, oh, let's get a new museum.
And the dining.
Yes, and the dining as well, yeah. And that's actually me there on the ramp. So this is the concept cars that they have.
Oh, wow.
Which I love. Like that whole area is just so
it makes me want to run to Germany. All right.
Yeah. So, and this is a little bit of a different view there. Yeah, with concept cars on the sides as well. And then the next one is actually, this is the manager of the museum.
Oh, you got to meet him.
Michael Bock, yeah. We got to meet him, interview him, and he even had me take his picture. So, and he's a very, very nice man. So yeah, there's all different dynamics in each one of the museums. While the BMW, the people that work there, they're like almost like the Hugo Boss, like the very chic, everybody's very handsome kind of guys. While in the Mercedes, you know, it's a little bit more
engineering,
classy. Yeah. So it's almost a little bit more nerdy and
geeky.
Geeky, yeah.
And what about when you get to Volkswagen?
So yeah, that's a different story. So yeah.
What were they? Oh, we're going to Porsche. All right.
Porsche next.
All right. We'll move it along. Here we have Porsche, which, by the way, I can't seem to fit in too well. Just so you know.
Really?
Yes. So if you picked me up in your Porsche convertible,
have the Cheyenne, no?
Yeah, I'd have to be in the Cayenne.
Yeah.
I'll give you that too.
Oh yeah.
All right.
So and this story is actually very dear to me. So these pictures, so there's one of the newer ones. So I brought Brought my little, again, my husband's little car, but just thought I'd bring a few. Yeah, since I can't fit my car in here, I had to bring the little one. So, yeah, I wish I was driving a Porsche, but no. Yeah, so the first few that I kept in gray. So this is what the museum looked like.
Looked like.
So I started this story when in 2008, when the museum only had about 20 exhibit pieces.
Okay.
And they really didn't do any justice to show these beautiful cars. So it was right next to the factory. So this was it, you know, like right next to the factory, little warehouse almost with 20 little cars. So I started with the story there, and they were telling me that they're building this new museum. And sure enough, 2 years later, this is what the museum, so in 2010, December 2010, I was actually one of the first people who were allowed to go into the building.
Really? Wow.
It opened in January. I was there in December for Christmas.
This is because they saw the competition and they said, we better have a new museum.
So it's also a Viennese architect that built this, and Porsche started with the Käfer, with the Beetle.
Oh, that was not Volkswagen? It was Porsche?
Well, Volkswagen and Porsche are very married. They were always married, kind of.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Family, yeah.
Oh.
So the families were always like very close.
Okay.
And yeah, so they started with the
so
Beetle.
Even though that was a Volkswagen, it really was a Porsche.
Yeah, it was designed by Porsche. Yeah.
Oh.
And even in the Porsche cars, the shape kind of was incorporated in a lot of the cars. Yeah.
Oh, I never knew. Okay.
Yeah. So
now
this
that looks newer.
Yeah, so this is the reason why I popped that picture in is because they have these sound showers, they call them. And so sound showers. So if you look up top, they have these. If you stand on one of the black dots there, it's weight control. It actually gives you the sound of the engine. So it's awesome. Yeah.
Oh.
And you can with the building. You can also rent, like companies can rent space there. You can have functions there, cocktail hours, movie shows, fashion shows, anything like that. So even if you don't want to see the cars necessarily,
so you told me the other one they get engaged at, that was the BMW. They do a lot of wedding engagement. You said, the Mercedes. One of them you.
Yes.
So this one is the wedding itself.
Yeah, so there you can possibly have the wedding there.
I was engaged at BMW, but my wedding was at Porsche. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, so it just shows again how beautifully this museum is laid out, and
wow.
This one is a very, very particular car that was on exhibit at that time.
For some reason, it looks like it might have a high price.
Yes. Okay. Good question. Because it just came. So this was introduced. This is actually a concept car that was introduced, and it was on exhibit. And it was so popular that they begged to create this car. And as of 2014, June of 2014, just a couple months ago, you can actually purchase this car.
And give me the low price.
Yes, the low price, $845,000.
Oh my goodness!
And there's 4 right now in the U.S.
And they've got a waiting list. Probably.
Sure, yeah. So it's actually the second hybrid car that Porsche has. So.
Oh, and it's a hybrid.
Yeah, it's a hybrid.
For $845,000.
Yeah, and it doesn't.
Well, you know, when you spend that much on a car, you have to save on gasoline.
That's right.
So.
Yeah. 306 horsepower that car has, so it's I wouldn't mind sitting in that one day.
I'm impressed, Nicole. You got all those numbers.
So this is really interesting. So a lot of the cars so there's a little bit more than 70 years history of Porsche in America, and one of the chairmen on the board, he has had a particular favor for America, and they actually created this museum, very masculine, this restaurant. It's called the Christopherus restaurant. Christopherus is the saint of the travelers. So they created this restaurant, again a fancy restaurant, but the meat that you get there is brought in from America. The stove it's cooked on is from America.
Now why? As a tribute to America? What, for being such a good market for their automobiles?
I guess, but it's a lot of the decision makers of bringing the cars to America or buying a Porsche is actually women.
Oh, really?
In America, yes. So, and there is a picture of.
I don't recognize you, actually.
Yeah.
I'm used to you with long hair.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, here we go, party time again.
Okay, so yeah, so the,
Oh, see,
Munich has the Oktoberfest, but so does Stuttgart. So
the games, that's the...
yeah, the Ferris wheels and everything, and there you see the girls again in the traditional clothing. So that's why they start the Oktoberfest is 2 weeks long, and they offset it with Stuttgart because Stuttgart also has the Oktoberfest, and then they offset it so you could go 3 weeks long to the Oktoberfest if you wanted to every day.
So would you, it sounds to me like I should never order an automobile, a German automobile, made in late September, October, or the end of November. Am I correct?
Why?
Because they're all at Oktoberfest somewhere.
Well, you want to be there.
Yeah, the car will come in, the door will be a little bit off center, and
oh yeah. Yeah.
and they all say to each other, "Oh, look! Wow, look at this."
Yeah. So the
What's that?
Ferris wheels.
Big Ferris wheel.
Yeah,
wow.
big Ferris wheels. Lots of food. And the nice thing is about Stuttgart, because we are so close to the French border, so we do normally have French food served there, as well as the Bavarian food.
What is that? That's
so this is a traditional food from
Stuttgart.
Yeah, from Stuttgart. It's a Maultasche. It's a big ravioli.
Oh, a big. Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, it's. I just learned this actually myself. So I teach the cooking classes, the German cooking classes.
Wait, what is this? This looks beautiful.
Yes.
This is a palace.
So this is one of the biggest Baroque palaces that you can find in Germany.
And where is it?
And
in
this
Stuttgart?
is just south of Stuttgart.
And what is? And who lives here?
Actually, it was the king of Baden-Württemberg, I think, lived there for a period of time.
Wow,
yeah.
Beautiful.
But I just threw these in because besides the car museums, you have the Volksfest, get some great food, and also get to see some beautiful castles.
I remember I saw, they called him Mad Ludwig. I'm sure that wasn't his real name.
Oh, yes,
who was
Bavaria.
In Bavaria, and I went to his castle.
Yeah,
way up.
Schwanstein.
Yes, beautiful. It hadn't, they said, this is a good lesson to us Americans. Ludwig spent so much money on this castle, he couldn't finish it.
That's right.
But he disappeared and died. Because I think the citizens got so angry with his spending that they killed him.
Yes. So, he was found drowned, yeah.
Oh, he was? Yeah. That was the story.
Yeah, and he had a favor for Richard Wagner, was his favorite composer.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Yes. Well, Wagner
very,
was a good
very
composer.
interesting, yeah.
And this is what?
So, also a great thing to see is the Christmas markets.
Oh.
So if you decide not to go to the Oktoberfest, and it's actually a nice thing to go around Christmas time because we have the most beautiful Christmas markets.
And at the Christmas market, they sell what? Lots of things to celebrate Christmas.
Yeah. So mostly we go to have malted wine, and also to.
So October is beer, and December you move to the wine. Okay.
To the wine and the schnapps. Yeah.
Oh, schnapps. Okay. And January?
And January, I think it's still schnapps time. Yeah.
Oh, schnapps.
Yeah, you need to keep warm.
Nicole, I don't know. You're going to have to take me on one of these trips.
Yeah.
I like to drink a
I'm
little
going
bit.
actually. Not even a week and a half. I'm
For
going.
schnapps.
Yeah.
All right. The factory in Dresden,
So,
VW.
Now we're moving on to the last maker, so Volkswagen. And this one here, the Dresden transparent factory. Why is it called a transparent factory? Because it is completely made out of glass.
Oh, really?
Why is there even a factory in Dresden? Dresden is considered the Florence of Germany. And it's a beautiful city that was completely destroyed during World War II. And they rebuilt the certain artifacts, so church buildings.
Yep.
But they didn't want to have a factory in the middle of this beautiful city. And as a matter of fact, this factory is right next to the botanical garden.
Oh, wow. Look at it.
Yeah. So I believe
this is the factory or the museum?
So this is a factory.
Wow.
Yeah, so we were able to get into the factory, and you can also pick up your car there. Now, it's a very particular kind of car. It's the Phaeton. The Phaeton only had 2 years, 3 years it was present in the US and it didn't sell.
Right.
Because it
was a lot of money.
It was a lot of money, and it was more or less Volkswagen's answer to like the
Audi 8 and the
Mercedes bringing
S550.
The R-Class,
Right.
so a different car
and
that
the
came out.
BMW 7 Series.
Yeah, so they wanted to have a luxury car, but you know, while it's nice for people to think like, okay, I'm still driving a Mercedes, even though it's a smaller size car. It doesn't work the other way around. You know, people rather spend the money and say like, well, I drive a BMW or an Audi or a Mercedes, spending that kind of money, than say like, well, I drive a Phaeton, you know, Volkswagen Phaeton. So, but they're talking about bringing it back.
Well, just for the record, we discussed earlier, they own Rolls-Royce. So
it's BMW.
Oh, BMW. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They own what? Bentley.
They own
Porsche?
Bentley.
Yeah.
And
Lamborghini,
Ducati.
you told me, I think.
Yeah, Lamborghini as well. Yeah.
So they figured a way to get into the high-end
Yeah,
automobile
Volkswagen.
market.
Yeah, and they have the biggest share of Porsche as well. And again, because they
You
were.
said they were close. The
Yeah.
family.
So it's under Volkswagen management now. Porsche.
And this is their.
So this is a view of the factory itself.
Wow.
Again, you see on the left-hand side a restaurant. So
Yes.
all of them have
Dining.
and different dining, some from luxury dining to like just light fare where you can just
No, it
have
sounds-
local foods. This is not on the belt.
Oh, this is
on
where
the
they're
production
assembling
belt.
the cars.
Yes.
Look
So-
how clean. Oh
And
my
by
God.
the way, if you work in assembling cars, this is probably where you want to work, because it's like the Ferrari of manufacturing cars, because it's almost, I think 80% of it, I think a little bit, 87% of it is made by hand. So the engine obviously is
This
one
is
piece.
the Phaeton model.
Yes.
Oh, just this model.
Yes, this
Okay.
luxury model. Yeah.
Which you say still is sold in Europe.
Yes, it is still
Okay.
sold in Europe. Yeah.
Oh, isn't that funny? It did well in Europe. and not
2006
here.
they stopped it.
Oh,
Yeah.
they did stop it there
Yeah.
too. Okay.
So and there you see like the factory being in the middle of the city. They actually just transport the car parts on these little trains. So
Okay.
they made
Like a transmission.
yeah, they are on the public transportation system. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So and that's us. We got to put on like a little white suit.
And who's that young fellow?
So he was directing us.
Oh, he was okay.
Yeah, and he was because normally you're not allowed to go on the belt, on the production belt, but we had the luxury to even go on that, and he was.
I think it's
directing us.
amazing they gave you so much
Yeah,
attention.
It was remarkable. They
Yeah,
really.
You
yeah.
must have really sold them a bill of goods there, Nicole.
It was it was a very, very nice thing to do. Yeah, absolutely.
no.
So there's they obviously you can have different options on what kind of
Oh, that's the
wheels you
leathers,
want.
interior, all that.
Yeah, the leather interior, the carpets, you have all the choices. So that's
Oh,
just
so
showing
look at that. They really pull out the whole hide.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, and that just shows, somebody maybe shopping for one. And then we also got to sit in one of them, and they are so comfortable. So I never drove one of them, but people that have, they really like the way these cars drive. So it's almost considered like this limousine of
Oh
Volkswagen.
yeah, no, it looks like a very nice automobile.
It's completely
I can see.
decked
Now,
out.
now they have a separate from the factory.
Yeah.
An auto museum.
Yeah,
Okay.
and this is now going to Wolfsburg. So
okay.
this
How
is
far is that from where we were?
from Dresden. You would drive about 3.5 hours, I think.
Oh, so it's a whole different area.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You're close to Hanover now, so
Okay.
Wolfsburg is close to Hanover. It's between
Oh,
Berlin
so this
and
factory
Hanover.
in Dresden just makes a few automobiles.
Only the Phaeton.
Okay.
Yeah, only the Phaeton.
Oh, all right. So now we're going up to
Yeah,
north.
so we're going north. So it's close to Hanover, and you see Berlin is it's closer to Hanover, but it's.
I want to go to Berlin. I've never been to Berlin, and
Yeah.
my daughter was there and loved it.
Yeah. Berlin is
Loved it.
awesome. Yeah, Berlin. Those are the two places I actually tell people to go most when they ask me, oh, I have a few days in Germany. Where should I go?
Munich and Berlin.
Munich and Berlin.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So here is the
The mayor
museum.
of Berlin's not going to run again,
Oh,
On
yeah?
a political note, folks. Yeah.
So these cars here.
The airport's out of control. It's not getting built.
Oh yeah, that's the terrible part. Yeah, that's
All right,
true.
back to cars.
Yes. So the first car that you see there, that's a wedding car.
Oh.
So you can actually get married there in this car, and I think they had it mostly for employees, the chance to do that. Then the next one is built completely out of wood, and the other one right next to that is wicker. And you can't really see, but all the way in the back you see like the base of a hot air balloon case, so where you could mount it to a balloon, and that one was flying actually. That it was a Beetle base that was actually a hot air balloon basket.
These are great.
So this is a small museum because Volkswagen has like the Autostadt, which is huge, but this is a smaller museum. So if you're really into like the older cars, the Beetles and the buses, the little buses, so those are all there, and they really prepped some of those as well. So I think the Beetle was last built in 1978, I believe.
Where in Germany? Because I know
in Germany.
I think we sold them here in the
and
US.
In Mexico.
Yes,
I think it was
2003,
2003, if I'm not mistaken. They were last built in Mexico. So.
Oh, so this museum is mostly the Beetles.
Yeah,
and
Beetles and.
But you said they had something else.
That.
What was the other? You said something. They had another building or another museum?
And we get to that one too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that will come up as well.
All right, I'll have Bill move these along. I want to be sure to see the other museum.
I think, yeah, we're almost through all the slides, so I think we will get there. So yeah, this one was, they converted some of these cars. I just mentioned the hot air balloon basket, that is the Beetle.
And this one floats.
And this one is a floating one, yeah, so a catamaran, so. Which is, yeah, so I think this was a particular year for Volkswagen, and they had like all the different names on them.
Oh, there's all the buses.
Yeah, exactly. So there are all the buses. So
the original minivan.
Yeah, so it's a small museum, but it's for those that love these old cars. It's a really nice little.
I can see though it's not nearly as fancy as the other museum.
Yeah, it's not as fancy.
No.
Yeah, you're right. But wait.
Wait. Okay.
So now we're going to Autostadt.
Okay.
So there, between those two museums, I think
now
you're like 5 minutes away.
Now give me a translation. Auto, I understand, and what does Stadt mean?
Stadt means city.
Oh, Auto City.
And it is a city.
Oh, and this is in Wolfsburg.
You don't need to leave the city at all of Autostadt, yeah. So this is 20 stories high. This is where you can pick up your Volkswagen.
Oh my God.
And they actually do have parties in there as well. So like I said, they don't just have these anymore to just showcase their cars. They actually have...
It's a social thing. Yeah.
It's a social thing completely. They show movies in these places. They have functions there. Grooms propose to their future brides, concerts, book signings, everything.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, it's remarkable. Yeah.
So they bring in everything, social mixes with business.
Exactly.
That's a good way to do it.
So the Volkswagen factory is actually the biggest factory in the world that houses, I think there's 43,000 people working there.
Oh my God.
So it's under one roof. So this is why it's the biggest factory under one roof. They all working there in the world. But yeah, they have an underground tunnel that would bring these cars over, and then they just go in this 10-story high tower. Warehouse, yeah, where you can pick up your car. And again, this is like showing one of the restaurants. They have, I believe, and there we are Japanese.
Oh, okay.
They're Japanese restaurants. So not everything is like super fancy. Like I said, you can have some local fare, or you can have some, you know, Asian
huge
fare as well.
Connected warehouse building system. So
it's. If I brought my little brochure here, I can show actually how big it is. This is
oh my God,
how big it is. So in the middle pieces here, you can kind of see all the things that are going on.
So it's like a university campus.
Yeah, it is. So there's the Ritz-Carlton on there as well.
You're kidding?
Yeah, there's a Ritz-Carlton, a 5-star hotel right on the premises, luxury food. Yeah, it's amazing.
Well, they must have got, you know, Dearborn, Michigan, which is the home of Ford Motor Company, also has a Ritz-Carlton.
Oh.
Yeah. So interesting that Ritz must link up with the automobile people.
So this is actually shown really where you can design your cars there. It's nice for kids as well. So I should point out a lot of these places are really nice for kids as well, and some of them have kids events in particular. So yeah, that particular place that we just saw there, you can design your car and add elements to it. And
so do you buy the car directly from the manufacturer when you go there, or do you just put it together and you have to work through a dealership? If you're not familiar, it's all right.
Yeah, it's I think that's more a fun fact in those museums. Yeah, it's just a fun fact more, so that's why they have these kind of things to do that. But I think you can probably print it out. I remember there was a printer printing the car out and everything, just the way you designed it.
Oh, now this
and there is actually shown how it's been carved out of clay.
Carved.
Yeah. And I just love that. So there,
that looks great.
Yeah, so these are little kids' cars. So, like I said, it's friendly for kids as well. So you can do a test drive with little baby Beetles. And now, what was really great about the Volkswagen Museum as well is that they had not only have Volkswagen cars in there, but also, I should say it's Volkswagen, that's the real say. They had a whole history of different cars as well. So you could find Porsches in there, Mercedes in their Audi.
So they have a collection.
Yes, they do have a collection of historical cars there as well, yeah. Yeah, I just love that one too. And a lot of them have, yeah, so this is almost like the Elvis Presley mobile, with all of their blinks and diamonds and everything. So yeah, all the car makers in Germany, they helped each other out at one point or another when they had financial troubles. And I think Audi, I believe, at one point was almost going to Mercedes, so they were able to keep it under their roof.
Now we're outside, and these look like plants.
So there's a whole park as well in the middle of it, and this is all lavender, and it's a scent tunnel.
Oh, wow.
So these rotated around as you walk through, and it was like the lavender scent as you walk through this tunnel. So I just thought that was very, very neat as well.
It is.
And now this is where we mentioned, Volkswagen now.
Was my wife driving there? It looks like it.
So Lamborghini has a special building just for Lamborghinis, and there they have a little show going on.
And do they make the Lamborghini in Germany?
I don't think so. I think they probably still have it in Italy.
Okay.
It's just, I think, under the management of, or they might have bought the name, the rights.
Well, they may make the engine in Germany and still piece it together in Italy.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do we have a few more, or we're?
Yeah.
Fabulous.
So, yeah.
Really, I got to tell you, when they told me, they said, Jack, Nicole's coming with automobiles. I said, okay, it'll interest me, because I love automobiles. But I think for anybody, this is a very special trip to enjoy in Germany.
Exactly,
is seeing all these automobile plants. And if I will tell you, I've been to the Ford factory in Dearborn, Michigan. They have a tour. I didn't recall if they had a big, they did not have, that I remembered, a big museum like this. They have a separate other museum, the Henry Ford Museum, which has a lot of different things, which he donated to that community. But their factory was a great tour, and in fact, they had built a roof with greenery and vegetables and grasses as a way to be utilizing energy properly. So I think a lot of these automobile dealers do an awful lot to try to be involved in being, economic as well as environmentally concerned. So I see that with these German companies too.
exactly.
You go ahead. You're going to show me a book there.
Oh yeah, so yeah, I had one brought. Like Porsche actually has, because I mentioned that a lot of women have influence in America to actually purchase the Porsche car. So Porsche has actually brought out a book that's all about the ladies of Porsche.
Oh, the ladies of Porsche.
Porsche, and I should say it's not Porsche, it's Porsche is the real name of the company. But the reason, because of, yeah, I'm going to hold it up so you can see it, yeah. So they also have a lot of women on the marketing for that reason. So since it is mostly speaking to the women.
Do they sell, did you find out at all, do they sell more automobiles to women than the other companies, or do they have a better percentage of women customers?
I don't know how they compare actually to the other makers. I just knew that they made a particular point about that at Porsche. So
that they were very interested in connecting with the women.
Yeah, exactly. So that they have.
Listen, women buy lots of cars.
Yeah.
You can't ignore them.
Yeah, and I think they even make some relationships with California. Porsche has some relationships with where they try to get them over to Porsche as well. So
California, you know, I will tell you, unlike Massachusetts, you see, I mean, I'm not diminishing this state at all for automobiles, but California, you really see lots of fancy cars. I mean,
yes,
you see everything that's like that $854,000 automobile that you might see in California, you know, in Los Angeles or somewhere. That's where you really see all those cars.
Yeah, and just to get back to the Christopher's the restaurant that I mentioned in the Porsche Museum. I mentioned they had the steaks and the stove and everything from America. The one thing that you would not find in America in that restaurant are Cuban cigars.
Oh, okay. Oh,
they have the Cuban cigars there. So
eventually, I think our deal with Cuba is we're going to leave you alone or something till maybe Fidel is gone, and then all of a sudden you'll see all the cigars will come out. They don't have too much other than cigars and sugar, but you know, I'm sure eventually it'll return.
Yes.
Anyway, I have to thank you so much for sharing this with us.
Yes.
I want to thank your husband Carl for lending us his toys.
Yes.
Carl, thank you.
Yes.
And I hope you'll come back and do another show with us.
Sure, I would love to.
This was a great show, I have to tell you.
Yeah, I can highly recommend it.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
And thank you again. Oh, strudel, you're going to talk to me about strudel. What?
So, that's right. I brought you a little souvenir from one of my cooking classes.
Thank you.
And it was freshly made, so apple strudel.
Well, you know, I'm afraid if the hell with our guests and our viewers, I'm going to try it.
Yes. Since we talked about the apple strudel last time I was here, I had to make sure I baked one fresh for you.
Wonderful. Oh my goodness, that is delicious.
So.
And this is, I'll have to sign up for your class.
You do, yeah.
So I can have more strudel.
Great.
I don't know. Enough, Jack. Thank you again.
Thank you.